Hey gamers, if you're a fan of action games and you want to find the best Souls-like games to play, then you've come to the right place. And in this video, we're diving into the top 25 best Souls-like games not made by FromSoftware that you absolutely need to play. Some of these games might not have the big budget polish of Elden Ring or Dark Souls, but trust me, they bring their own flavor of pain and glory. And if you've never finished a single Souls-like game, you might want to hold off on this list for now. Before we go into the list, I want to tell you about my favorite place to buy games, and that's Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an awesome site for grabbing games at great prices. Not only they always have fantastic discounts, but also they running giveaways you won't want to miss. Seriously, these deals are hard to beat. Where else are you gonna find prices this good? Why pay full price when you can grab the same game for way less, right? Yeah, you can shop for games on all kinds of platforms, like PC, PS5, Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. No worries, it's 100% legit, fast, and super easy to use, and their support team is available 24/7. So what are you waiting for? Go check out your favorite games by using the link in the description below and start saving your cash with Instant Gaming. And by using my link, you're not just getting awesome deals, but also supporting this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. Most Souls-like games are dark and gloomy, but Enotria stands out with its bright sunlight, colorful world inspired by Italian culture, and honestly, exploring it just feels fun. Combat-wise, the parry system is way easier to pick up than in Lies of P, and the enemies aren't too brutal early on. Perfect if you're new to the genre, or just want a smoother start. And when it comes to the build and customization systems, there's a lot to dig into, from masks, enemy aspects, perks, to elemental skills. It might seem a bit much at first, but if you enjoy messing around with different playstyles, Enotria is your playground. For me, Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn is pretty dope. It's got fast, flashy combat, solid exploration, and a nice sense of progression, even if the early game's a bit rough around the edges, and the combat kinda gives off Devil May Cry or Bayonetta vibes, with this reputation multiplier that keeps climbing as long as you don't get hit. It pushes you to stay aggressive and style your combos. Late game, you can hit over 150%, which makes grinding actually feel worth it. Also, you don't have to unlock everything in the skill tree to get the good stuff. You can jump straight into top tier skills and start messing around with builds early. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin brings a Souls-like experience with fast-paced, responsive combat full of combos. Feels almost like Devil May Cry. You'll instantly get hooked by how fluid and deep the combat mechanics are crafted by Team Ninja, who really know how to deliver intense dynamic gameplay. The job system here keeps that classic Final Fantasy depth but throws it into a Souls-like world. You can freely switch up your playstyle by changing jobs, like Mage, Lancer, Ronin, or even Pugilist, which feels super unique with its own set of brutal combos. With skill trees and the ability to swap jobs on the fly, the game gives you tons of strategic freedom, keeping the action fresh and exciting. Thymesia is perfect if you're into Sekiro-style combat, fast, aggressive, and all about timing. You play as Corvus, using sharp sword combos, parries, and the deadly claw attack that finishes enemies after you break their armor. Yeah, the dual health system adds a nice layer of strategy to every fight. You can also steal enemy weapons with the Plague weapon system. Upgrade them and use them in your build, so combat stays fresh without slowing down the pace. So if you're looking for a Souls-like that's fast, stylish, and full of action, Thymesia definitely brings something cool to the table. Assault and Sanctuary is a must if you're into Souls-like games. It takes that brutal, challenging vibe and drops it into a 2D world, and it totally works. Can you believe it was made by just two people? A husband and wife team, and the result is truly impressive. From its dark atmosphere, creepy enemy designs, and to the tension-building music, everything feels like a labor of love by two people who really understand what makes a Souls-like game click. You can even play co-op with a friend on the same screen, which makes exploring and fighting bosses way more fun. Rise of the Ronin blends the precision of Sekiro with the cinematic feel of Ghost of Tsushima, all wrapped in Team Ninja's signature action RPG formula. It's a brutal and rewarding experience where every swing and parry matters, and yes, the parry system is insanely satisfying when mastered, even though I usually strike first. Pulling off a clean parry is still super satisfying. The story hits harder than I expected, there's real emotional weight to it. You also meet some cool characters along the way, and you can build bonds and fight beside them. If you're into Nioh, Sekiro, or Tsushima, you seriously need to try this one.
This belongs to you.
Steelrising is perfect if you're into Souls-like games but want something that won't stress you out. It's got all the usual stuff: boss fights, shortcuts, bonfire-style checkpoints, but with a more relaxed feel. Combat's still tactical with dodges, parries, and reading enemy moves, but it gives you room to breathe. No rage moments, no broken controllers, just that, okay, I got this feeling. So if you want a Souls-like that's fun without the frustration, Steelrising is a solid pick. Another 2D Souls-like that you should not miss is Blasphemous 2. From the stunning pixel art to the dark, twisted world, this game had me hooked from the start. The exploration feels intense and rewarding, and the vibe is pure grim beauty. You get 3 weapons, and swapping between them mid-fight feels like a 2D Devil May Cry. Jump cancels, air dashes, combos, all of it. It's stylish and brutal at the same time, and the bosses, tough as hell, tight arenas, tricky patterns. But once you learn their moves, beating them feels insanely satisfying. Another Crab's Treasure is easily one of the most unique Souls-likes out there, because yeah, it's set underwater and you play as a crab with a dinner fork. It's colorful, goofy, and way more chill than your usual Dark Souls-likes, but it still nails the core stuff. Tough bosses, tight parry timing, and checkpoint spots called moon snail shells. You can grab random trash as your shell, like a soda can or a tennis ball, and each one gives you a special ability. Yes, these things you don't normally see in the genre. If you're looking for a Souls-like that feels totally fresh, maybe Another Crab's Treasure is a must-play. Forsaken is one of those Souls-likes that really pulls you in if you love dark, mysterious worlds. It's not just another FromSoftware copy, it's got its own vibe that keeps you hooked. One cool thing, you don't lose EXP when you die, which sounds chill, until you realize the checkpoints are miles apart. Every step feels risky, and that tension really hits. And yeah, the boss fights can be brutal. Some of them spam tracking attacks like crazy, but once you figure them out, the payoff feels awesome. If you like anime and Souls-likes, you gotta keep AI Limit on your radar. You play as Arisa, this immortal badass called a Blader, out to find Elysium, the last hope for humanity. Pretty heavy stuff, but the gameplay is where it really shines. Combat's super fun. There's this system called Sync Rate. Basically, the more you land melee hits, the more your damage ramps up. Feels super satisfying. And get this, no stamina bar, so you can dodge, spam attacks, and go full beast mode without that out of breath moment. Just don't button mash like a maniac. It's still a Souls-like, so timing still matters. 9 Souls is a must-play 2D Souls-like. If you love games like Sekiro that test your reflexes and force you to read enemy attacks, then you gotta try 9 Souls. This game is like Sekiro mixed with Hollow Knight, but in 2D Tau Punk world. My favorite part? Landing a perfect parry, getting chi, slapping on a talisman, and boom! That sweet, satisfying, magical explosion. I never thought a 2D game could hype me up this much, but 9 Souls doesn't just prove the genre is fun, it makes me want to dive back in and master every bit of it. Now excuse me while I go replay it and try not to die to the same boss 10 times in a row. Lords of the Fallen really brings something fresh to the Souls-like genre. Here you play as the lamp bearer holding a magical lamp that opens the way to two worlds: Axiom, the real world, and Umbral, the world of the dead. This really makes the gameplay different from other Souls-likes. When you die in Axiom, you drop straight into Umbral, not the usual you died screen, but more like you get a second chance. But Umbral is way creepier and harder, so don't chill there too long. The whole game supports seamless online co-op, so a friend can join in anytime to fight bosses or explore with you. Remnant from the Ashes is easily one of the most unique Souls-like games out there. It's got that Dark Souls style gameplay, but you're not just swinging swords. You're packing rifles, pistols, and can literally burn enemies from a distance. But don't get it twisted, even with all the guns, it still feels like a Souls game. This game is also a blast to play with friends. You can play co-op with it up to 3 people from start to finish, which makes everything even more fun and chaotic. I played with my partner, and we had a great time in figuring out how to beat bosses that were frustrating at first, but ended up being super addicting.
Reloading! Welcome back.
The Surge 2 takes the Souls-like formula into a brutal sci-fi setting filled with exosuits, deadly robots, and a city torn apart by a strange virus. The combat stands out thanks to a limb targeting system. You can slice off specific enemy parts to get gear, so every fight becomes a choice: quick kill or better loot. Go for unarmored limbs to end it fast, or target tougher parts to earn new weapons and armor. To back you up, there's a drone companion. It's more than just support. It can pull enemies, shoot lasers, toss grenades, and even aim for body parts like you.
Unlike you, I have not come to this place.
Darksiders III is an action game that mixes elements of Souls-like, Bayonetta, Zelda, and Metroidvania all in one package. You play as Fury, the third member of the 4 Horsemen, on a mission to hunt down the 7 deadly sins. In here, maybe you get Souls-like without the deep combat, Bayonetta without the flashy combos, Metroidvania with barely any skills, and Zelda with puzzles that are way too easy. And compared to Darksiders 2, the visuals are a significant step up, and now you can play it on PS5 with better visuals. Mortal Shell is a shorter Souls-like, about 12 to 18 hours, but it still delivers the tough combat and dark vibe you'd expect from games like Dark Souls. You don't build a character the usual way, instead you possess different shells, basically dead warriors with their own stats and fighting styles. Each one feels super different, so it's fun to swap around. Combat's got a unique with hardened move. You can literally turn to stone mid-fight to block hits and then counter. Super clutch when timed, right?
This is what I was born to do.
Stellar Blade is kinda like a mix of a bunch of genres, but somehow all those elements just blend together smoothly. From start to finish, you'll probably keep staring at Eve's assets so much that you might forget you're actually supposed to be playing a game. I know the real strength of Stellar Blade is her sexiness. No, the combat. The combat is seriously awesome. Eve's main weapon is a sword with lots of combos and upgradable skills. What I like is that there aren't too many skills, but each one actually feels useful, and the fights really test your timing for parries and dodges, especially during boss battles, bro. And please focus to the gameplay. With Long Fallen Dynasty as a fast-paced Souls-like that's pretty friendly for newcomers to the genre. Made by Team Ninja, this one's a Souls-like set during the Three Kingdoms era in China, but with a dark fantasy vibe. The main focus is deflecting enemy attacks to break their spirit gauge, which then opens them up for a powerful fatal strike. There's no stamina system like in most Souls-likes. Instead, it uses a spirit system that controls your offensive and defensive rhythm. This setup makes the combat flow nicely and feel really slick.
Once we've read the data, the one who discovered it gets priority.
Another unforgettable anime Souls-like game is definitely Code Vein. The gameplay mixes classic Souls-like mechanics with a unique JRPG twist. The character customization runs deep, from appearance to combat style, and you can switch out your blood code anytime. It also has online co-op, so you can squad up with a friend using a password or just join randoms. Super helpful when bosses start going wild. It adds a lot of replay value and makes the game even more fun, especially when you're up against tough bosses. Black Myth Wukong is a Souls-like action RPG based on Journey to the West, where you play as Sun Wukong, a magic monkey with a staff, fighting through a world full of insane bosses. The game's basically a boss rush, with Dark Souls level difficulty, but even more unpredictable. Some bosses are easy, and others are pure chaos. From trap attacks, invisible walls, to getting yeeted by tornadoes out of nowhere. Best strategy? Just press Alt plus F4. Sometimes I feel like I'm too old for this game. Maybe I should just retire, watch football, and eat pudding, but still I can do backflip in my room. Jedi Fallen Order is, in my opinion, the perfect starting point. It teaches you all the core basics of Souls-like games in a fun, beginner-friendly, but still challenging way. Don't jump straight into Dark Souls yet. This one eases you in, but still gives a solid challenge. This game gets you to learn how to parry right from the start. You can't just spam buttons, you actually need to time it right. And that's super important, because in Souls-like games, parrying is a key survival skill. Jedi Fallen Order gives you a pretty generous parry window too, so you can practice without getting frustrated. As a hardcore fan of the Nioh series since the first game came out, I can say this is one of the best Souls-like alternatives out there besides anything FromSoftware makes. It dives into Japan's Sengoku era, full of war and chaos, and mixes that with tough boss fights and stamina-based combat. Nioh 2 is the full package if you're into challenge, story, and exploration. Every weapon and armor has its own rarity. From white to purple, the higher the rarity, the more passive effects or extra damage you get to play around with. Not only that, you can also collect soul cores from the yokai you beat. These let you use awesome yokai abilities, and you can customize them based on the guardian spirit you're using. The first Berserker, Khazan, tells the story of a famous general who got betrayed by his own kingdom and was branded a traitor. After being badly wounded, Khazan was brought back to life and possessed by the Blade Phantom, a bloodthirsty spirit with its own agenda tied to the realm of death. The game nails that classic Souls-like loop, but focuses on speed, mobility, and long combos. It's perfect for players who love going all-out aggressive, kinda like Devil May Cry, Sekiro, or playing as a rogue in RPGs. This might just be the best Souls-like game of 2025, but who knows? Let's see what other games drop later. Lies of P was one of the biggest surprises of 2023. This game proved that a developer outside of FromSoftware can still pull off a top-tier Souls-like experience. You play as Pinocchio, a mechanical puppet created by Geppetto, and you're the only hope left to stop the puppet uprising that spiraled out of control and started slaughtering people in the city of Krat. Lies of P throws you into some seriously epic boss fights, giant puppets, creepy mutated creatures, and even emotional duels with key characters. Every boss has its own unique attack patterns, and the atmosphere is always on point. And even now in 2025, Lies of P still holds its spot as the best Souls-like outside of FromSoftware. Some fans even say it's better than a few FromSoft games themselves. And that's it for today. Those were lists the top 25 best Souls-like games not made by FromSoftware that you absolutely need to play. Got a hidden gem I didn't mention? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or discovered a new title to add to your collection, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss future content. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.